My wife and I bought our older son a 75-gallon aquarium for his 12th birthday. That was over 2 years ago, and we've learned a lot over that time, so I figured I'd spread the word on 10 things I wish I knew before buying this monstrous beauty. If you're thinking of buying an aquarium like this, I'm not covering things you probably already know, like you'll need a filter and a water heater, and you'll need to clean the tank weekly or bi-weekly at bare minimum, and you'll need to be careful what fish you get because some don't play nice with others, and you won't want to get just any decorations in the tank because some can hurt the fish. The tips I'm about to give you are just things we learned, some the hard way, that may save you some time and frustration and make your aquarium experience more enjoyable all around. First, rinse not only the tank before adding water into it, but also rinse any non-fish items you add to the tank before adding them to the tank. This includes any fake plants, decorative rocks, and most importantly, your aquarium gravel. Yeah, that may seem like a pain to use a bucket to rinse all that gravel before adding it, but it's a lot less of a pain than having all that gravel dust diffuse into the water, dirtying up everything, taking forever to settle, and making your filters do a lot more work than they should. Yes, we made that mistake, luckily before we added any fish to the tank, and no, we didn't get any footage of it, so here's some footage that's similar, being a bunch of algae scraped from the glass after my son went 3 weeks or so without doing it, so it would look kind of like this, but worse. Secondly, we use a Fluval Aqua Clear filter system, and it works great, but something we wished we knew right away for this, and probably other filter systems too, is that it's better for the water pump to have the water already filled up in the filter before turning the motor on. So just be sure to fill your filter's tank with clean, appropriate temperature water before turning the filter on. We use a 2-gallon water pitcher for this to ensure the water is topped off completely. Your filter's water pump will thank you. Third, you'll be performing a light aquarium cleaning and water change once per week or once every other week at bare minimum, and a heavier duty cleaning once per month, which will include cleaning and replacing certain components of the water filter. Given this time commitment, we found it's worth it to invest in the right tools for the job up front to make this as easily as possible. For us, we found the following tools to be well worth the money to make these processes go as smoothly as possible. A gravel cleaner kit, including a long enough hose to easily reach from your tank to a shower or bathtub for aquarium water drainage. A siphon starter to help get the water flowing through the tube out of the tank for water changes. An extra long gravel tube for cleaning the gravel during water changes so you don't have to get your hands wet. A hook for putting clean water back into the aquarium during water changes. A good glass sponge brush and scraper to clean the sides of the tank. A good flex brush for cleaning the filter tubes. Also, you may need a universal adapter for your sink or other water source for filling the aquarium with water. And lastly, a water heater that not only heats the water to a custom temperature, but also tells you what the current temperature of the water is. Fourth, one thing unrelated to maintenance, you'll want to spring for a customizable LED light bar. They make the tank look spectacular. Just be careful not to leave it on a bright setting for too many hours per day, else you'll have frequent algae issues. Fifth, related to the LED light, algae will form on your gravel and decorative pieces over time, especially if the aquarium gets a lot of light. It doesn't matter how often you perform standard maintenance, algae will happen eventually. So you may want to have some algae cleaner on hand for this. It's not an urgent thing when you first get started since it takes a while, like a few weeks for a well-lit tank or a few months or a year or more for a darker tank. Just know that it's natural and there's a simple remedy for it, so no need to freak out like we did. Sixth, no matter how well you maintain your tank, some fish will eventually get sick with constipation, tumors, or something else. There's not much you can do about this, but one thing people do is to use aquarium salts. It may be good to have a carton on hand in the event a fish or two start showing signs of illness or disease. We've only had to use it once, and the fish died anyway, but it helped knowing we did all we could for that little guy. Seventh, angelfish in particular, if you have a male and a female, will procreate. Oh yeah! And the female may lay lots of eggs from time to time. This can present several issues, so I suggest you learn more about this ahead of time so you can be prepared and not freak out when it happens like we did. A good link for what to expect and your options for handling it is in the description below. Eighth, during weekly water changes, be sure to put water in your tank that's close to the ideal temperature of the water for your tank. If you don't, you could shock the fish and maybe even kill some of them. If you see bubbles on your tank glass during a water change, it's likely that the water you're adding is too cold. These bubbles will go away on their own, but just be sure to use warmer water next time. One technique we use to help with getting the water temperature right is to not only add water that's close to the ideal temperature, but to keep a close eye on the water heater because it shows you the actual temperature of the water. If it starts rising, we know the water we're adding is too hot, so we cool it down a bit. If the temperature starts lowering below the ideal temperature, then we know the water we're adding is too cold, so we raise the water temperature a bit. It's not rocket science, but it's important to get this right. Ninth, over time, algae will develop not just inside your aquarium, but also inside your water-changing hose. You can clean them using a diluted hydrogen peroxide and water solution. Just be sure to rinse the hose thoroughly after this treatment. A good link for how to do this is in the description below. 10th, if you plan on taking a vacation or otherwise being away from the aquarium for a day or more, invest in a good automatic fish feeder. I personally had to build a feeder to tank adapter since the ridges of my tank prevented the feeder from fitting on it properly. So you may want to look for a feeder that actually fits your tank. If you can't find one, it's not that hard to build an adapter like this. Well, that's it for what we wish we knew before we started our aquarium journey. If you have any other tips like this, feel free to leave a comment about it below. I hope this helps, and thanks for watching. Cheers!